I used to be competitive. Listen to this episode and find out where I'm going with this. Welcome to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Berg. I'm a speaker, author, sales trainer, website reviewer, and I help businesses like yours sell more, profit more, and have more fun doing it. Enjoy this episode. Hi, it's Alan Berg. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I used to be a very competitive person, whether it was sports or whether it was academics or anything like that. I was very competitive. I was competitive with myself as well as with other people. If I was playing basketball, and those of you that know me in person know that I am not of tall stature, I was still, trying to be a somewhat aggressive player and play. And if my friends and I were riding bikes, we always had the who is faster or who could jump further or whatever it is that we were doing there. So I used to be really competitive that way. And as I got older, I realized that being competitive, other than with myself, was really not where I wanted to put my efforts. Because first of all, I don't control anybody else. I've talked about this with my Taekwondo training and things like that, where, I could say, all right, let's do push-ups and who can do more push-ups. But the reality is I can't control how many you do. I can't control if you were practicing between last week and this week more and you can do more than me. What I could control is what can I do versus what I did the last time. And the idea of the zero-sum game, which is, that has to be a winner and a loser, I think is also something maybe that takes maturity to realize that there don't need to be always the winners and losers, or you don't always have to win, or that winning makes someone else lose. And is that what makes you feel better? Right? Now, there are certain times where there are zero-sum games. If you are running a race, there is a winner and everybody else lost. Even in the Olympics, you have your gold, your silver, and your bronze, and then everybody else didn't get a medal there. I remember one time there was a woman who had been pre the Olympics. She had been on all the magazine covers, and she was a runner. I forget what distance that she was running, but she became the darling of the media for whatever reason. And come to the Olympics, and she runs, and she came in fourth. And of course, all eyes and all cameras are on her because of all this press that led up to it there. And they came to her and they said, well, how does it feel? You didn't medal and, you came in fourth. And she goes, yeah, in the world, which I thought was just such a great answer there. Came in fourth in the world. Yeah. There is that zero sum when you have things like that, or if it's the Academy Awards, somebody wins and everybody else lost. Does that make them losers though? No, being nominated is an honor in itself. You got recognized in there, and yeah, we're only going to hand out one of those gold statuettes. So, there you go. You're going to only have one of those. But I realized that for me, winning that makes somebody else lose is unsatisfying for me. Because I guess it's just more, again, maybe it's more maturity. Maybe it's just getting older and I don't need to see other people lose. That doesn't make me happy to see other people lose. Don't get me wrong. I don't think we should be handing out trophies for eighth place, or participation trophies. I think there are realities in the world that if you're playing a sport, there are winners and there are losers. Yeah, don't do that to the 4-year-olds. But as you get older, that is just the reality of that nature of that game. That's what that is. But that's not the reality of life. The reality of life is that I don't have to, you don't have to lose for me to win, right? For me to be better doesn't mean you have to be worse. And I think that's where I was getting at with this whole idea of where I used to be competitive and now I'm not. I'm still somewhat competitive by nature. I mean, if we play a board game, if we sit down and play Clue, or if we play Monopoly or something, yeah, the point of the game is to win. But I think it's also, I'm even less competitive with that in some ways. I'd rather be competitive with myself. I'd rather sit down and do a crossword puzzle and see how I can do that in pen and finish the whole thing, right? That to me is a competition against myself. It doesn't make anybody else lose for that to happen. So I used to be a lot more competitive. Think about yourself. Think about yourself earlier in your life. Think about yourself maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, some of you 15, 20 years ago. And then think about yourself now. And would you find yourself to be more competitive or less? And what is the satisfaction if you find yourself being as competitive or more, what is the actual satisfaction of that? And is it something that you're really striving for? So excuse me for getting a little philosophical on you today with this one, but I hope, as always, it gives you something to think about. Thanks. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wedding Business Solutions podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe to this channel and post a review on your chosen platform, Apple Podcasts or whichever one. If you have any questions about anything in this episode or any of my episodes, email me directly at alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com or visit my website, alanberg.com, alanberg.com. If you have any suggestions for future topics or guests that you'd like to see, please again, email me or visit my website. Thanks for listening.